Well, I have just seen Sony's GOAT, a 2026 movie that I was moderately anticipating for. I'm a huge basketball and Stephen Curry fan. Not only was Sony's recent project a massive success, but since I saw this film well after a month of its theatrical release, I could see most people had unexpectedly positive reviews on this movie. But did it live up to the hype? Let's find out. So the story of GOAT is based on Stephen Curry's life, which is, if you don't know, his journey from becoming an underrated, overlooked basketball player to a four-time NBA champion. And this is what the GOAT movie was basing the story off of. No matter how small, how underestimated you are, you can still fight for your dreams. In this case, Will Harris's dream was to play professional rollerball. And while this was a typical underdog movie, it was a great movie overall. I really had quite the time watching it. And even though the story was impactful, which I'll talk about later why, it was more of the funny memes and jokes and high energy that made me enjoy this film. Not only did this movie contain top notch comedy, it also had multiple fun to spot Easter eggs. For example, there was a scene in the movie where they showed a basketball video game called Rollerball 2K, which is based off of a real video game from PlayStation called NBA 2K. I found that fun. On top of that, you could relate to several things in the movie if you're a basketball player or if you're a basketball fan. Bench players, famous athletes, tennis shoes, and every little thing that you could relate to if you like or play basketball. Not even saying that the movie let you feel what it's actually like to be a famous athlete and how their life is like. On top of that, Sony was creative and invented a new sport for the film, rollerball. It's like regular basketball, except extremely brutal. Dunking on someone's head becomes a viral video meme, violent, lots of obstacles, and sometimes deadly. I'm glad Sony spiced things up with the sport, because if it was normal basketball, it wouldn't be as interesting or exciting. But yeah, the plot of GOAT was cool. Yeah, I do have a couple minor issues on it, and one of them is the pacing. While I did love the energetic feel of the movie, everything went by a little too fast. Even though it captures the vibe of high level sports, I feel like they rushed it too much. Man oh man, at some parts of the film I couldn't even see what was going on. The ending also went by super quick. Another minor problem I have with GOAT is that while it was based on Stephen Curry's journey into becoming an NBA superstar, it was really just a basic idea. Will Harris was an undersized GOAT, an underdog, and that was pretty much it. But regardless of my issues with the movie, the story in the overall GOAT film was super funny, action packed, and really captured the feeling of high energy basketball. Starting out with the overlooked GOAT named Will Harris, even though I liked his overall character, he didn't have much development at all. For the entire film, he didn't even doubt himself for a moment. That would be good in real life, but since this is a movie, it has to have some scenes where he hesitates, doesn't believe in himself, or anything like that. Instead, this movie had him from the beginning a guy with self-confidence, unlike Steph Curry who had points in his life where he didn't believe in himself. Another character, Jet Fillmore, the legendary rollerball athlete that Will admires. I liked this character throughout the film. And then we've got the rest of the Thorns team, which all of them had a memorable personality. There was Olivia Burke, Lenny, Archie, and Moto. My favorite one was Lenny Williamson, the giraffe, really just because he was voiced by Steph Curry, but also because he was funny. And there are many other characters. I liked most of them, and while I did have a couple issues with Will Harris, all of these characters turned out to be great. We all know lately with Sony's movies like K-pop Demon Hunters or the Spider-Verse franchise, they've been using a different style for their animation. And what I'm gonna say here is that I absolutely love this animation. While I don't think I like the style as much as Pixar's, I still enjoy the comic captured spirit of this. Lately, the studio has been adding some cool, lively effects on the pupils of characters' eyes when they have a certain emotion, and I find that really nice and stylish. Another thing I like about this film's animation is that the animals are realistic enough. In a way, I'm glad Sony didn't focus and go over the top with realistic hairs and everything. Their main goal was to give a good story with a cool, different styled animation. A style that doesn't even make the animal characters too realistic, but it's still good and definitely captured the feeling the film is meant to offer. All in all, Go definitely lived up to my expectations, even though I'm more excited for other animated movies like Toy Story 5 and the Mario Galaxy movie, which by the way is coming super soon. Sony's Go I highly recommend, especially for basketball fans. As I was planning to say, this story was pretty impactful because it delivered good messages, such as believing in yourself and giving praise to your teammate when they succeed. My overall score on GOAT is an 8.3 out of 10. My cons, as I mentioned, was the pacing, the lack of basing more off of Stephen Curry's origin, and the lack of Will Harris's character development. But still, the underdog story, the vibrant styled animation, the comedy, the rap music, the overall music. By the way, shout out to Jelly Roll for composing one of the songs in the film that I very much liked. And yeah, I really had a phenomenal time watching it. But either way, what are your thoughts on Sony's GOAT?